Here we are. Just introduce myself. I'm Twisted Elf. You know me as the current 80% world record holder, and I guess main categories as well. But this is album 3. I want to introduce to my commentator right here. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Prince Porky. I don't really hold any world record aside from ladderless.
But Prince Porky is actually underrated part of a community member in this community because ever since he's joined over almost a year now actually has found a lot of cool stuff
We
this
can't
year. And
wait
I
to show it
guess
off.
there's a lot of new stuff that got found this year, and I can't wait to show off in this run. And the run has changed a lot since I last commentated something like this. So anyways, let's just get started, honestly. um so we're gonna start right here. It doesn't start right here, but it actually starts at the okay. So timing will start right here. And there's a little bit of downtown right here. We'll explain, what language is this and why we have it on. But anyways, we're gonna get started. So in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. One of the first things in this run, so anytime you finish playing through the game casual the first time, you're able to skip these cutscenes that you usually watch the first time when you play through. So we can go ahead and skip them right off the bat. Like this one as well. So
And playing through it on one file means that you can skip it on any other file as long as it's from the same profile.
yeah. And we're just gonna go and, answer this or something to us and say yes. Because, the whole story of this game is actually, Luigi and his friends is basically just go on a vacation to a hotel. And turns out it becomes a trap under King Boo, with Helen Gravely as a sidekick, and we're now here to basically go rescue them by going through these floors and defeating ghosts and defeating our main key points of what's called buttons from bosses, essentially. So
all of the elevator buttons have been removed from the panel, and your job is to go from floor to floor to find them all.
yeah, right here we'll be facing King Boo right here. But we're gonna have to run away from him because we have nothing in our hands to defeat him. Go back in. We're going to shoot through and start the run. But yeah, couple things like I mentioned earlier. The language, that is actually European French, and the only reason why we have it on is that it lets us skip 2 text boxes in the run for only a couple of seconds at time save. Not text speed, but just less text boxes in the run.
Text speed doesn't matter because when you mash through dialogue, the text appears pretty much instantly. So the only thing that really matters is the number of dialogue pockets.
Yeah. So right here, I'm actually gonna do a optimization right here by utilizing the B button here to basically let the stairs kind of push him.
Yeah, the recoil from the startles pushes him in the direction he wants to go.
Yeah. So coming up is the introduction, or the first tutorial of this game is the vacuum, and we actually learn a new moveset in this.
This is also the perfect tutorial for the run because it shows off animation cancel, which is a pretty
so
big
right
deal.
here, do this. So I'm gonna skip this animation by bursting at the right time. I did. Yes. Next one right here.
So that little fist bump you saw him do is
Yeah.
it gets skipped whenever he does the burst.
Yeah.
For
And that
this,
new move set is actually the burst, which is actually used in this run a lot, actually, for like main purposes of like boss one cycles, for instance, which you'll see soon, very later on in this segment right here. So now we're just going to be heading out and going up to the higher floor right here. So we now have the access to the vacuum. Just right here, the instance of burst, we can basically burst off that trash can our way to move forward. And
another
this will
useful
be,
thing about the burst is that it gives you height.
yeah. And here is the first instance of combat. So what I'm gonna do is essentially flash this goo, and then we're gonna be slamming him. And if you really pay attention closely, how this combat system works is that, you know, once you charge the charge meter, you're essentially able to slam the ghost a couple of times. But what the game doesn't tell you is that you could actually slam them a lot more quicker and gain an extra slam off of doing that.
Instead of just mashing the A button, what you want to do is
Nice, I
time
got
it
that.
to where you press the button as
What
soon
I
as they
did,
hit the floor.
yeah, what I did there, I was able to burst off that trap door while the animation was going. Which nice overlap.
1 second time save. This run is filled with a lot of 1 second time saves.
Yeah, this first section has a lot of like optimizations that I do in like real work attempts that actually do like add up the time in the
This
run.
floor and the 6th floor are probably the two most optimized in the run.
So yeah, just now we just saw EGAD in the painting, and we don't have a way of you know, rescuing him just yet, but we're gonna go over here and get a key over here.
If you see how quickly he manages to turn around, that is another use for the B button.
Yeah, a lot
it
of this
allows you
run,
to-
like, you may not notice it a lot, but if you pay attention very closely of how I move Luigi, I'll be turning a lot more quickly when, like, leaving, like, areas, like, in this room over here. So I can essentially do a double right here. Like this. Because right here, I can essentially B and just turn around like that, essentially. So now, next new unlock for our vacuum is the Dark Light, which is actually something that we need to actually rescue EGAD. And it'll come in handy in many instances of the run. But yeah.
It's not used as much as the other tools in our kit, but there are a couple of
Yes.
situations where you can do some funny stuff with it.
Yeah. It's mostly just story mode based things that you'd be using it for, rather than in other situations. But now we got EGAD, and we're gonna be going down the elevator here to go to his lab. And there's one thing I actually do want to like mention here, is that there's an interesting thing with the elevator that, for some reason, when you actually skip the dialogue the quick as you can end up skipping a elevator cycle completely. So let's see if I can actually get this. I have to really mash quickly right here. I didn't get it. But if there was 2 letters right there, or like 1, I would have skipped that like long like wait right there that I had to do. Which takes like around like 2 to 3 seconds, but alright, so right here is the first boss called the Steward. And we're gonna actually be doing a 1 cycle right here, so go ahead and flash him here. I'm gonna slam him down right here 5 times. Immediately burst, flash him, pull him back, and then we're gonna wait under 100, slam 4 times up, and then down right on the last one. And by doing this, by doing this, you essentially position Luigi where the button is gonna spawn. And just like that, I can basically go ahead and get the cutscene right away. And that's
This
basically
gives a 10-second animation of him celebrating after beating the
yeah.
boss.
Like if you miss it right there, you basically are just losing 10 seconds over the celebration.
Here we're going to be mashing the dialogue at a specific rhythm to skip it as quickly as possible.
Here we're just, you know, kind of just like...
This is a long period of pretty much doing nothing, really.
Which is fine, I mean. Just giving us stuff like the virtual boo for him to call us, and then he's gonna give us like...
Plunger, which is very important.
Yeah, that's also one thing, is that when you, after you leave this area, leave this lab, you actually unlock the plunger, which will be actually first used in the next floor that we'll be going to. Because we actually got, yeah, because we got 2 buttons. One of the buttons, or what? There's actually 1 button already in the elevator, which is actually the basement. You saw earlier. But we're getting 2, and one of them is where we'll be going to next.
The 5th floor.
Yeah, 5th floor.
Yeah, at the start of the game, the floors are done a little bit out of order. Once we get to the 6th floor, it'll pretty much just be going mostly in order.
Yeah, there'll be instances of like some backtracking that will happen later on in this run. But right now, we'll be kind of going in like in a certain order. Alright, so after this, he's gonna make us go to EGAT hotline. And right here, if I press plus twice, I can skip it right away and just go straight to the 5th floor.
Another thing that you'll be seeing, whenever we're in the elevator at the panel, if you use the control stick as well as the D-pad, you can navigate through the elevator and all menus a lot quicker.
If you like alternate between them, which will be shown like later in the run. But yeah.
So here we're going to be trying to skip through a dialogue section, as well as showing off the suction shot.
So yeah, this is the first instance of the plunger. We can basically plunger, and unfortunately that got behind, so I can't really pull it all the way. But usually if you can pull this thing right off the bat, you can get the call on the other side, but that's alright. Let's see if I get early right here.
So when the objects from the car fly off, they fly off in random patterns. And if they happen to land on that rat right there, it'll spook you earlier during when you're frozen.
Alright, I'm gonna do an optimization where I'm gonna burst this guy off right here and pull him over here, and then we're gonna have 3 of them pull all together and pull them back, close the door. And if you do this, you can actually leave the room right away and skip the animation from just doing that, so you can actually progress forward by doing this. Right here, I'm gonna do a triple.
He celebrates, and if you either go through the door,
just like this
or
again.
hold out the plunger, he won't
celebrate. Fast forward, the next box is coming up, Chambria. Hopefully I get this, but I'm gonna pull her right here.
I will explain what he's doing as it happens. So, unfortunately for the devs, they left a little bit too much time in Chambria's animation, and before she leaves the room, you can hit her with a plunger and do what's called an instant slap to one-cycle her without her coming to another room.
Yeah, fine. Okay, we're good.
So, as soon as you tether onto the plunger, you can instantly hit the A button because of the distance that you're at, and it will immediately slam her, and the recoil from her being slammed gives just enough time to apply another plunger.
Yeah, I got it right there. So that was Chamber 1 cycle. I was a little worried about getting pushed back, because sometimes getting pushed back there can really, like, you really have to, like, make sure you actually press A in time before she can even leave.
That's why we do it in that corner,
Yeah.
because it gives a good window for the knockback.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Next up is the third floor, which will be showing off the final tool that we will unlock for our arsenal, and by far the most powerful tool. So coming up, we are going to unlock Guiji. And Guiji is a fun thing because he is very broken.
I think I got slow elevator, I think. I'm not sure, because I'm used to seeing the timer right here, but there's an instance right there where, like, after you leave the 5th floor, sometimes the elevator can take 6 seconds longer than usual.
There are 2 elevator rides in the game that have a little bit of
Yeah.
RNG attached to them.
Right here is one of the instances of one of the game-breaking tricks. I just pushed Luigi right through that, and I'm purposely putting Guigi just to die, so I can actually continue this forward. This is essentially called goo pushing, and it utilizes a seed that is only made just from testing spots in the run, and for some reason, every time you load in the game, you get a different seed, so it changes how the physics works, but also it changes how Luigi's collision model is.
If you get a good seed, you can push him through tiny cracks in collision, and we will be abusing this throughout the entire run.
You won't see very much in these next couple segments, but you will see it within the next say 15 to 20
A lot of
minutes.
stuff happens on the 6th floor.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happens. Like the big stuff that will happen is on the 6th floor and beyond. But yeah, we're on the 3rd floor now. That's the next thing that we unlocked. And we actually unlocked a new character called Guiji. I forgot to mention, because, explain the seeds. But without Guiji, we can't really utilize the seed, goo pushing.
This floor is sort of the tutorial for Guiji, and here we'll be immediately abusing him.
So right here, I'm going to go for a celebration skip, and then go through the door. For some reason, when Luigi is scared by something, he can actually run immediately, and if he runs through a door, he'll actually run through right out of the gate, rather than
This is what we call spook speed.
Yeah, spook speed. So yeah, we had to go to the bathroom right there, get the key to unlock the whole mall right here, and we're gonna get the first key that we'll be collecting in this mall. And we have to actually go through these rooms to actually get the final key for that door over there to get to the boss.
This mall acts as a very good tutorial for Guiji.
And if you pay attention right here, I'm able to skip through these animations by walking by the escalator there, and also having Luigi right in front of the symbol right there for Luigi to skip that animation key check. So right here,
so here's going to be one of the few uses of the dark light.
Yeah.
In this fight in particular, if you use the dark light, it brings the ghost closer to you.
Probably won't get it here, but that's alright.
So if you collect a key and overlap it with the celebration animation, it cancels the animation, which is quite nice.
Now we gotta head down over here for the next key.
If you notice that he's running quicker, there is actually no run button. Whenever you run in a direction for about 2 seconds, you start running, and if you're not going in almost a completely straight line, you will not start sprinting. So you will see that when we want to run for an extended period of time, we will purposefully stay in as straight of a line as we can until we start sprinting.
when I catch these like mini moves in a certain order, so I can actually have the key land on me right here. And you'll see a lot of optimization like this, like Porky mentioned with the dark light use.
A lot of things that we do in this game is to cancel animations.
And then right here, if you dark light early and you walk into this, you can actually keep the dark light out, which lets you actually dark light this object.
A lot of cutscenes in this game aren't true cutscenes, and you actually retain like some amount of, not control, but presence on the map, and that's why holding the dark light continues to dark the register during the cutscene.
Alright, so this is the first instance of a ghost having a way to prevent use the action. So one of the actions we can use is a burst to take off the glasses in order to flash it. Like right here, I push this guy. And right here, I'm gonna
Slamming
swap
ghosts.
right here to trigger this escalator. Swap back right here. And you may notice this a lot, but there's gonna be a lot of multitasking in this run. That's like the premise of like these high level runs, where you'll be utilizing Guichi a lot in a lot of situations. Yeah, here we're getting the final key, which start like this.
Pretty good spirit orbs.
Right.
So coming up, we are going to meet another new ghost, this time being the hammer. And the hammer has a couple of unique properties to it. It can only really be tethered from behind.
Alright. So what I did there is actually walk by the key. If you walk by the key and you get the save icon, you can essentially trigger this part without having to grab it, because there's actually an optimization you can do during the fight that initially
Grabbing the
starts.
key takes a few seconds, and what we're going to do is skipping that
By
with the little start.
Yeah. So right here, you'll get started, and I'm gonna do like a strat right here.
So since the
out.
hammer has two tails, you can actually tether him with both Luigi and Guigi.
Yeah, just like
to do
that.
40
Also,
damage
this
per
is the
slam.
first instance of using a plunger. So you don't have to utilize the door, but if you hold out a plunger as soon as you finish the ghost, that's a way to like cancel the celebration animation. Alright, so coming up is Cruller. Hopefully I get this here, but what I'm gonna do, I have Luigi vacuuming here. I'm gonna go ahead and immediately vacuum here, and to slam 4 times immediately go onto the vacuum that I did right here. And luckily I did. I'm gonna burst
Nice
and
job.
flash, and right there, get it under 100 HP. And nice, that's Cruller 1 cycle. I don't think I got the button spot, but usually when doing this, you can actually land on the button right here.
Doesn't lose nearly as much time as not getting the button to steer it over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now we got the next floor coming up, which is the second floor.
This floor shows off a very prevalent mechanic known as RNG.
Yeah, this is like the one of the things that I would lose runs to if it does not go well.
The second floor has a couple of instances of random events that can very easily ruin a run.
Oh, yeah. Ha ha. Yeah.
This is also going to be the second and last elevator ride where the loading time can have a slight bit of variation.
Yeah, we'll see when we get it.
Okay, so currently what you see him doing
think I
there
did
is
good.
waiting in the corner.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
The
I
reason
got, like...
he's doing this
Yeah.
is so that he can start running as soon as he leaves the elevator.
Yeah, just like that. Fortunately, I'm pretty sure I got the slow elevator load as well on that one. So honestly fine. So that's another 6 seconds, but yeah. So now we're entering the mezzanine. And like Porky mentioned, this is like one of like the annoying like segments in the run you have to deal with, because there's a lot of like ghosts that you have to deal with. But if you know what to do here, you can easily like manipulate them. Because there's a lot of manipulations with the combat you can do. But whenever you get any bigger than like 3 ghosts, it starts to get more complicated to deal with, so you have to like...
Every ghost spawn is predetermined from where they start in a fight, so we know exactly where
Here I'm gonna spawn
they're gonna be.
Luigi to manipulate them to like go somewhere. And I'm gonna do like a flash thing right here to see if I get it. And luckily I did. And I'm actually gonna have him over here. Okay. I'll wait to drag him here. I'm gonna put him over here because I can do this right here. So I'm gonna swap and slam. I'm gonna slam and then swap. So now we're going to Chef. We're gonna be vacuuming dust off here. And I'm actually doing a setup for the one cycle.
One of the tougher one cycles in the round.
So yeah, I'm gonna throw the pumpkin right here. Flash him. I'm gonna slam him on the stove 3 times. Up, down. Unfortunately, actually, I got lucky actually right there.
Wow, okay. So whenever he slams on the stove, every other slam does 40 damage. And as you can saw there, he kind of botched the one cycle, but
yeah,
sometimes Chef will remain tetherable.
Yeah,
after
normally,
you throw a fruit.
yeah, normally that would be like a screw up, and I would actually reset there. But I luckily got him to actually get stuck there, so I could just grab him. That wasn't really intentional. It was just like the game give me a free pass essentially. So now, unfortunately, we can't leave the floor because the rat stole the button from us. So now we have to go after chasing it.
This is going to be a recurring theme throughout the run. So right there you saw him moving Luigi, and that's pretty much just to set up the timing. You don't get control of Luigi back immediately after grabbing that button. So you want to move Luigi a little bit beforehand.
Oh.
Yeah, there'll be instances of where you can't really do much besides just move Luigi somewhere else that's like has a partner need, or just pretty much idling.
Here we're going to meet another new ghost, this time being the Oozer.
Also, guess which cabinet is going to be the rat in the end.
Yep, that's truly RNG. The rat spawns in one of the 3 cabinets behind us, and we don't know.
So here, if you burst, you can reveal the Oozer from his hiding spot. So let's see if I get him left, because I'm always left gang. Left gang for life.
Members of the community have 3 different gangs that they do for which cabinet they choose to go
Alright,
for
right gang
first.
wins today.
No. Oh, no.
But right there, actually I kept spook speed from that. So I can go ahead and run through that door and keep running from here. I'm gonna do a start skip right there to avoid a scare.
So normally he gets scared when the rat runs by. If you spawn Luigi, when Luigi passes over a trigger to get scared, since you're not controlling Luigi, he will pass right over that without actually getting scared.
So right here, immediately just move and then just turn over here to burst that off. Because it's actually quicker to do this than going through the pipe with the button and giving it to Luigi. Yeah, now we completed the 2nd floor. And we unlocked the 4th floor. But however, EGAT has something for us to share, and it surely is helpful in the run.
Except it's not.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah, and this is actually one of the instances of why we use European French. This is actually the dialogue that we skip. So normally there's two in English right here, but in European French you only get one. So we just go straight down. So we have to go to basement to go to the lab to talk to him because he has something to share.
It must be very important.
Yeah. Very important. UGAD is selling us stuff to buy off this shop, essentially. He's giving us a
shop that
free...
we will never visit again.
Yeah, he's giving us a free bone at the start, which, I mean, we don't really need to use, because there's no use of, like, dying in this run. But,
Gold bones are used to revive, but we pretty much don't need that.
Yeah, and the thing we actually unlocked here is actually able to search booze. In this run, though, we don't need to find any booze, unlike any like LM1 or. In this game, you essentially go to point A to point B. So our goal is to get these elevator buttons to reach the top.
So coming up is the 4th floor, which is a bit controversial amongst the community because it contained a skip, and when I say contained, it used to. It has a skip that got patched out in the latest version of the game, and that has unfortunately split the leaderboards.
Yeah, when the game was getting attraction news on some casual finding a skip, it definitely raised eyebrows for the devs to patch it out. But unlike that happening, other stuff in the run were actually not patched out. But
this is
when
the
giving
only
out,
skip that has been patched.
Yeah. Other than that, we had some little weird bugs in the game that got added, like weird T-Rex hitboxes, and the ability of getting no slam damage.
It happens completely randomly, and it kills a run whenever it happens. So right here, we're going to be setting up for a little spook speed later.
So yeah. So even though it's patched out, I'm currently playing on current patch because the reason why I play on current patch is I'm extremely based about it, but also stubborn.
Yep. Me and Twisted play on 1.4 instead of 1.0 because
So yeah.
we're
So right here, hopefully I can get on here, but I'm gonna try to get on the stage because there's actually a faster strat to do. When you're on the
right
stage.
there, if you see where about where Luigi is,
there's purple
there
mist.
is a door.
Purple mist coming out. That's what they blocked. They blocked it with a gate, but
If you go through that door,
in 1.0 to 1.3, there's no gate right there during this or a part of it.
going through that door during a certain part of the fight deletes the boss from the game and instantly completes the fight.
So yeah, so I'm gonna prepare
If
for
you saw when we did the Luigi push, we gained a lot of height. That is because we put a plunger on
There's
his
a strat
head.
I do right here that I want to explain. So right here, I'm gonna push this guy off. And then that guy got pushed, so I have to slam 2 times. Or that's actually fine. So right here, I'm gonna plant him right here and burst. And then group them together like this. And yes, I did got them all. So this is actually a really fast try you can do, but it's really hard to do. It's all advanced. It's faster than doing.
A lot of the time save of the run comes from ghost fights.
Yeah, combat is essential. Like optimizing it. So right here, we doing this fight. Normally. We're only losing like 2 minutes over like Legacy, but I've been able to get overall record without it for a few years now.
So to expand upon something I briefly touched on earlier, when you Luigi push with a plunger on Luigi's head, he will gain a tremendous amount of height, and that is what we call plunger head, and it's used in a number of spots as well as normal pushing.
Let's see if I get 2 jumps right here, because a bit of RNG
The number
with
of
the jumps.
does.
Yeah, I got better. I get bad RNG for this one. We'll see on the other one next phase.
So in phase 2, he can randomly do either 2 or 3 jumps, and in phase 3, I believe the max is 7, right?
It's 6. It's like 1 extra jump. So, if I get the best RNG, it's 5 jumps, but you can do 1 more jump after the 5th one. Okay, so you may notice that I'm actually manipulating him. So I'm purposely planning Luigi and then moving Luigi so he can actually spawn right next to Luigi. Sometimes he'll actually like spawn right next to Luigi right there. But yeah, we're just going through this boss. And kind of just, it's basically an auto scroller. This is the reason why people hate doing it, because you know.
This is the main reason people down patch. It's because you get to completely skip this phase of the fight.
4.
That's cringe.
5. Hopefully it's 5. Bad RNG. 6. Both bad RNGs, but it's alright. So now, actually I'm going to use Luigi over here. Luigi, sorry. To do this
We are going to be setting up for yet another instant button grab.
Not an instant button grab, but just getting it on it, essentially. There is a way to get the cutscene right away, but it's a little risky to do. So yep, luckily you spawn right next to me right here. That's basically the whole like floor. You just go straight to like the whole like section of like chairs flying at you, and we're actually rescuing Toad. And his name is Greg, and you'll know why we call him Greg later on.
This is the only Toad we actually care about, and by care about we mean we hate him.
Yeah, there's no importance to him in the run, but like the naming reason as to why, you'll find out why.
We'll explain it later.
Alright, so we're done with the vanilla portion of the run. Things are gonna get spicier when we get to the next floor here, though.
This is probably the second most optimized floor besides 1F.
Oh yeah.
Yep. On to the 6th floor, and this may be your favorites and casually, but you're not gonna see the normal 6th floor. You're not gonna see much of the castle in this run, let's just say.
So every floor has a bunch of story events that are tied to it that we call event flags. And in most floors, trying to skip event flags, be it through Luigi pushing or any other method, it doesn't really work. Except for this floor. And one other floor, but this is the main one.
First things I'm gonna do is actually go through this gate right here, hopefully. I did.
Nice.
That saves 2 seconds. So yeah. Here is coming up the big part of the run, and this became one of the most iconic things in the run.
So this balcony over here overlooks the boss arena. And
right here. gonna push him through here. And the next part's important because this part requires a plunger on his head. The first part didn't require it, but this corner here that we have to get through requires a plunger to get through. Most of the time. And luckily we got through. So yeah, what happened
So
there
the trigger for the
essentially,
boss is always
right there, I'm able to trigger the thing and we can go straight to the boss immediately.
This skips the entirety of the floor.
So yeah.
And now we are
Here
going to be
I'm
going on
actually
to the next
going
trigger.
for a strat. Hopefully I can get it here, it'd be awesome if I get it here. But
It
try
is
to use
rather inconsistent.
yeah, we'll see if we get it.
Nope.
Alright. We got one more try.
You can actually re-grab that plunger while he's down, and if you do that, you can skip an entire phase of him cycling through the arena. We call it armor cycle skip. And recently, it was discovered that you can actually do that twice in a row and get a one cycle, but it's incredibly difficult.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunately, we didn't get it.
That's alright though. But if we were able to get it, we would be essentially skipping him running around like a phase like this, essentially. He has 3 phases to this, so
This is another example of instant slam. If you're using Luigi, you can instantly slam the armor, but you don't really
right
do
here
that.
I'm gonna be doing a thing where I can actually push him by like blowing right here, so I can do that. And I have Luigi vacuuming because this actually helps drain his HP when I'm dragging him. And I actually have him positioned right to where the button's gonna spawn or jump to.
During a lot of boss fights, we have either Luigi or Luigi attacking the boss, and then the other one's going to be where the button spawns, so that we can grab it as soon as possible.
I do want to point out is that that boss is not very easy to tug of war with.
Yeah, you actually have to drain him for 100 health, and if you mess up too much, you won't be able to get him in one cycle.
Which is the reason why I have Luigi there to vacuum to help with the draining. In most cases. So yeah, so we just skip the entire floor and go straight to the boss. Right there. Actually, I'm gonna go for this, because why not?
Yo, that's hype.
Yeah, I got it, nice.
Oh, and he got it! So, we don't normally go through that gate on the way back, because going through on the way back, it's a little quicker opening it up, and pushing through the gate only saves about 1 second, and it's just a little bit less consistent.
Well, it's around like 2.5 with the 3. For like both sides, I think.
Oh yeah.
Next up
saving a
is
total of 5
probably the
seconds,
most broken floor.
Oh yeah,
but we won't
so
really get to show
you would think that by skipping to the end of part of the boss area, you would be able to do that on the next like couple of floors. Unfortunately, this game has very strict story triggers, just how designed it is, because it was actually developed by multiple teams of the devs. So there's like one team that works on one floor and one team that works on the other. So things are not very consistent to what they were made of. So a lot of these story triggers are kind of like strict or like not strict.
Only 2 floors are known to have story triggers that can be skipped around. 6F being one of them.
Yeah. So for this floor is the actually opposite of the floor that we just finished. We actually have to go through every trigger in order to actually reach to the end of this.
This floor in particular has very strict story triggers, which will be explained a bit later. If you hold forward during this vine, you can instantly go off of it without having to build up any kind of momentum.
be able to burst off this. And this is another instance, or the first instance of a ghost having an object. We all have to do is just flash at it and vacuum it, figure it out.
It's not the first instance. I believe the ghosts have 2 hold weapons as well.
Yeah, but this is like...
This is the first one where it actually matters.
Yeah. So... you'll be noticing me just doing these combat, like, in certain ways. Oops, I did not mean to do that, but...
It's to chain multiple ghosts together.
Yeah. So right here, I'm actually gonna skip a startle to run up this stairway, so I can skip avoiding getting hit by the pineapple. You can technically just run by slowly, and it works out, but it's a little more quicker when you actually do that. Fortunately, this thing is actually moving away from this.
Yeah, he got a pretty janky seed, so it kind of flung all over the place.
So, this is the first introduction of the Slinker. And
It likes to hide.
And I'm gonna go for a step, because there's this hammer right here. We have to burst him 3 times to get his leaves off his face, and then we can basically go ahead and slam him. Double
Most
team.
hammers in the game, you want to do double slams.
Yeah. And then right here is another set of like pineapple, but this time is actually 2 pineapples jumping. Just easily avoidable if you know what you're doing, so just hug the wall like this. And then we have to go here to actually trigger this in order to progress.
It triggers even if you go to the door.
It triggers faster, I'm pretty sure, when you go to there.
So this is the chainsaw.
Yeah.
And it's used to cut stuff up. We'll be using it a bit more later. But it only appears in this floor.
Alright. I did not. That's alright. Alright, let's see if I get a quadruple. But you can essentially flash all 4 of them here. Do it correctly.
Not the worst.
Here. So you may notice that I hold plunger right there. You can't actually go through that for that part through. So you have to hold up the plunger in order to actually like avoid the animation celebration.
So right there, as you saw, he was moving Luigi during that little cutscene.
I did
and
not
while
even
you
push
cannot
it all.
move Luigi, you can move Luigi, and you can open up those little leaf rolls while the cutscene's going on.
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't do that correctly with Luigi, but that's alright. So we actually gonna be going over here, and actually what happens is that the tree grows and it actually blocks our way over there. So we go through this room over here that's actually access from breaking
Here we're
the
going to
wall.
be seeing another skip that was discovered this year. It is called a mushroom storage.
Not gonna work that time,
Messed
but
up a bit.
yeah, that's alright.
So what happens is, if
There
both
we go.
of them are on a mushroom at the same time, Luigi will land on Luigi in midair, and you can use that to basically do a full mushroom jump from the top of midair. And that gives you a bit of extra height.
There we go. So what I did there is I actually activated Gold Ghost, which lets me have spook speed to go through the door quickly right there as I'm grabbing the lead. So here is one of the instances of another skip you can do. And it's a little tricky, but the most important thing about this is that you want to pull this thing off. If you don't pull it off enough, you can end up soft locking here when you pull this like plant.
You can also attach 2 plungers to that plant instead of doing it from opposite ends.
Yeah. Alright, so now the bunny's gone all the way down, and the boss is actually down there. And I'll be showing off a new master, Potter 1 cycle. discovered like 2 years ago, I think. So here, I'm actually grab this and move right here, move behind this plant, so it latches on here. And when I break this off, go. Spawn Gooey right here, wait for 260. 4, flash when he's on the ground. And by doing that, essentially you can re-grab him immediately right after. And yeah, there you go.
You want to swap to Luigi during the last slam so that you can control him while the little cutscene of Luigi spitting out the watering can happens.
Yeah.
Right here, buttons over here, we just gotta water it. And we reach to it.
Hello.
Yeah, that is the 7th floor. And the next floor is actually we're unlocking the 8th floor. So far we actually are in progress of the buttons. But the next floor after this is actually going to be
After we beat it, we're gonna have the first instance of backtracking.
yeah. So
Oh.
now we're done with the 7th floor, we're on to the 8th.
Yeah.
This is going to contain one of the first major skips that does not actually utilize Luigi pushing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, funny enough. So yeah. So you see the main idea that essentially we're going through these floors and we're just going through these rooms, clear these rooms, and then we're going to the boss to get the next button. The next
Almost
floor.
every boss has a one cycle, except for bosses like Amadeus that are pretty much scripted in how they play.
And actually, one of these bosses are actually not going to be captured because we're going to see them, but we're not going to be fighting them. It's going to be something completely else that we'll be fighting in this.
So this floor's main gimmick is the fact that you can go through these little TVs to teleport around a bit. And if you notice, this TV is going to bring us up onto a little ledge. And your first thought might be that you could easily Luigi push onto this ledge to skip having to go around.
Wow.
Unfortunately, this specific ledge has a pretty nasty invisible wall that prevents that from happening. You can still push onto it. It's extremely random.
Alright, so we're meeting Morty, and he's crying that he doesn't have his megaphone. So what we're doing, essentially, the objective is to get his megaphone. And the only way to do that is that we have to go through these rooms. Essentially, light up a torch on fire and break off the webs from a box that's holding the megaphone. But one of these puzzles that are required for this aren't actually required, because there's actually a way to skip that. And just what I did right there is actually a purpose spook speed. So right here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go stand underneath this torch and plunger suck. If I do that correctly, I should be able to actually pull it back right here.
So shooting the plunger actually gives more height to his vacuum. And
I got it. Nice. I got it.
Nice,
Right.
Jen.
So what happened there is that I pushed off the torch closer to that top left window, and there's actually a failsafe that the game has for when like the object gets stuck. So when the object got stuck right there, if I'm controlling Luigi there, the torch will spawn to whoever's in control.
So it warps to Luigi because the developers don't want story-based objects to get stuck in collision that you can't reach it. So this fight is going to be pretty much the first example of slam step. After we beat these dudes.
Well, this is technically the first entrance, but...
Yeah, so whenever you slam a ghost on the ground, there's still
Oh, I
gonna
got
be
no
foam.
slam damage, I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, don't want to see that. Good thing it didn't happen on a boss.
Yeah.
So when you slam a
But
ghost
yeah.
on the floor, you're still able to grab it, and if you hit CL to release the ghost, they'll stay on the
What
floor
I'm
and
gonna
you
do
can re-grab
is
them.
tether him. 1, 2, 3. Let go. Grab it again.
This is used primarily to kill hammers when you can only use one of
And
the
if I
two.
do that, so what I did there is I did a torch fling. If you despawn Guigi as you're turning the opposite direction, so instead of moving the opposite direction, he can fling the torch across the room.
Very important to note, you can only do a torch fling if you're not holding the ZR button.
And if you noticed earlier at the start of the room, I was actually purposely letting the torch be on the floor and using GUI to grab it, because you can actually force it warp in these sections. Because Luigi warps in this area when you go to the
that
camera.
worked.
So
we put the torch in a specific spot to instantly melt the spider without having to grab the torch. And now we have the megaphone.
So now we got the megaphone, and when we get the megaphone and give it to Morty, he's actually gonna make us do a movie against a boss. Quotations. Not a boss, but in disguise. Let's just say a kaiju.
This guy is
So,
called Goopzilla.
Godzilla. Yep. Right there, I immediately flash. I can start this, and I'm actually gonna move him over here, so I can actually set up for the last part of this. And if you flash him, and first off that, you can essentially just avoid hitting that. And I actually have GUI. Yeah. Early I had Guigi out because it actually helps a lot to actually move that big ball. So this last part throws 2 fireballs. 2 sets of fireballs. Final part, you just push it off right here. And this part you don't really have to mash really hard. You just
It's a very weak man.
And after this, like when he jumps right here, I'm gonna immediately despawn Luigi and move towards where the goob is. Because by doing this, I can essentially find them a little earlier than having to wait. So like there, I can basically move them closer to the exit. So now we have gotten the next button, which is the 9th
But
floor.
unfortunately, we're not going to be able to go to the 9th floor right away.
Yeah, unfortunately, the set of events are going to be interrupted by a new character in this game.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever this character interrupts our progress, we can actually hit the X in the elevator immediately upon entering it.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of having to wait a few seconds.
Introducing
So this is Polterkitty.
Polterkitty.
Oh, no.
Yep.
So as you can see, she just ate the 9th floor elevator button. And now we have to chase after her.
So yeah, now we have to go back through the floor and actually chase after her for the button that she stole from us.
I don't know how she's able to steal it after it's been screwed on, but that's the developers.
Here, I'm gonna grab this dude.
This is another great example of the slam stun being very useful for comboing ghosts.
right there is another instance where I can't really enter the door, so I have to actually hold on the plunger for that part. So here I'm actually trying to go for it, I think.
Fast kid.
And luckily I did got it. Nice.
Yo.
Got it.
So normally Polter Kitty will run across the room and then jump on top of one of the buildings, but if you position Luigi in just the right spot, she'll actually stay in place and do the little peekaboo combat earlier than intended. That little animation that just played right there of Luigi being disappointed, that is an animation that plays whenever you fight Polter Kitty, and throughout the run we are going to be doing various things to attempt to skip it.
So right here, I'm gonna burst this table here because it's a gold rat. If I time this swap properly, I did get it. So I got it.
It
So
startles him out of the animation.
Actually, I'm gonna go for this strat. I haven't done it in a while, but we'll give it a try.
Oh. Hmm.
So normally you have to attach a plunger to this little trash can that's gotten possessed.
I got it. Nice.
Yo! But if you do it like that, you don't have to use the plunger to stun him, and it saves a little bit of time.
Yeah, if you do it correctly. That is. So right here, I can actually flash these two cubes. And of course I couldn't grab them because they were too close to the gate.
A lot of the collision in this game is quite jet. So once again, we're going to be positioning ourselves in this corner of the elevator, and that is so that we can build up a little sprint as soon as we come out of the elevator. This only works when we're revisiting floors that we've already been to.
So right here, I'm gonna try to avoid a startle. And I did. Alright. What normally happens is that Luigi gets scared by those bats, and sometimes they can hit him right there. If you miss like the timing of that. So right here, these mini goobs jump out, but we don't actually have to collect them, we can just avoid them. And we can actually utilize them as spook speed. So I purposely left Luigi right there, so I can maintain the spook speed as I walk through this part.
If you get incredibly lucky, you can actually maintain the spook speed and go right through this door.
Yeah. So right here.
This is gonna be...
Oh. Did not mean to do that.
Okay.
That was a
I thought something
misfire.
was wrong there for a second.
Yeah, that was on my part. But there's a manipulation you can do, so if I stand right here, she should go like there. There you go.
She'll
There's three
instantly do her little attack.
Yeah, there's 3 manipulation spots that you can do for that. There's two spots that he jumps on the left, and there's one spot to the right that you can tell.
Also, as soon as she shrinks down into her mini form, if you swap to Luigi, then you'll be able to go through the door before his little disappointed animation triggers. Coming up, we are going to meet the final ghost type, or one of the final ghost types, and it is the Trapper. There are only 3 of them in the game, and this is one of them. And he actually managed to beat it quick enough to get spooked through that door.
Nice.
Here, he's doing a little small optimization with the melon. You're normally supposed to destroy that giant watermelon to break the bathtub to get to Polter Kitty, but you can actually utilize the plunger to barely get over the walls of the bathtub and reach the small watermelon quicker.
So yeah, you may have noticed that initially in your playthrough that you would always pull down the big melon, but for some reason you can actually activate it earlier if you slam out the right melon on the bathtub, as you have the scenes like
matter which melon you slam.
Hey,
Here
nice,
is
I got
another
it.
example of Guiji pushing being very useful. We can just
So,
drop down the floor.
yeah, we voted basically walking down the stairs. And we just fall down right there, and that's basically the revisit segment of this.
So now we get to go to the 9th floor.
Yeah, now we can actually
Which
go to the
is-
9th floor.
A very quick floor, and there's quite a bit to explain.
Oh, yeah. Ha ha. Yeah. Oh.
So this is another example of a floor having pretty much just only a boss fight. And this boss has pretty much 2 sections where you fight a giant skeleton in one phase, and then the actual ghost in the second.
Yeah, this segment's like pretty quick. There's a couple like segments like this that are to be quick as well later on. Right here, we're just gonna go to the left. And we have to pull down these curtains. There's optimization you can do is if you leave them like this, you can actually have them pull.
So one thing we're going to make sure to do is keep Guiji spawned in, and that'll be a bit useful for the fight.
So yeah, we see a toad painting, and this is actually a different toad. The red one. So I'm purposely leaving Guiji right here. I'm gonna wait for the bait out, and then throw the egg right there, and then do it again. Right here. There we go. And now
So now
he
we're
is
in phase
basically
3.
yeah, phase 3. Hopefully I get keep going energy in this.
So he is now free roaming throughout the arena, and what we are going to be trying to do is a new strat that was found this year. We are going to essentially try to bait his attack pattern that lets us keep Luigi in a certain spot, and you'll see why that's useful later.
Let's see if I get this today. Right.
It's not a really rather consistent strat.
Okay, there we go. Let's see. I didn't get it, but we can avoid the
so when
we can
he
avoid
leaves
this, so
Luigi
get
in
it.
that spot,
There we go.
will do this big slam that he
That's
does
fine.
instantaneously. Yeah, just stun in place. So normally, you'll instantly grab up, but got a little.
Reason why I have to do that because there's actually a one cycle you can do in this.
So you want to let Ugg drag you after sucking down a lot of his HP.
Now let's see if I can get the drain.
You'll slam him down on the floor 3 times, and then
Oh,
if
it's
you
happening.
flash his head with Luigi,
There
you'll be able to run up to him and grab him again after he breaks off.
So if you remember with Dr. Potter, the 7th floor, it's basically the same concept, but instead of like 4 slams, we're doing 3. Because the weird thing about this boss is that the timing of grabbing his tail is really difficult to do.
So the number of slams you do dictates how long he'll be stuck on the floor, and we want to have a little bit more time to move to a certain spot, so we want him to stay on the floor a bit longer.
Yeah, we need time to react to grabbing his tail before he's not formable anymore.
So right here, you'll see one of the instances of the game being weirdly inconsistent between floors. Whenever we rescue a toad, if we press X anywhere on the elevator, it'll trigger the cutscene of us returning the toad. This floor being the only exception, you have to go straight to the button that is on the elevator.
Yeah.
So yeah, you may notice now that we actually got a button for B2, so we're actually going a little out of order for this one.
Oh yeah.
But
This is the Boiler Works.
yeah, Boiler works, and there's actually a very cool trick coming on in a few minutes right here.
A lot of players might have this floor be quite infamous for containing a little section with the rubber duck. A lot of casual players don't really seem to like this rubber duck, but fortunately, We can use it to our advantage.
Yeah. Here. So we have to actually pull this off to get to the key over here. And I'm gonna actually purposely move Luigi right here so that Luigi can actually land on him. So he doesn't actually have to land on him for himself. So like there,
So
I
whenever
basically...
you fall for too long, there's a little animation that plays of you like hitting the floor really hard. That takes a bit of time to play. By putting Luigi right there, you pretty much skip that animation play because you're not falling. The game doesn't see you as falling that low.
Unfortunately, I didn't turn that right, but... Yeah, we have to turn these valves to actually have Luigi get through them, so he can flash this to open the door.
Then we're gonna run Luigi into the water streams to essentially get Luigi killed by the water, and that prevents us from having to swap to him.
Here, I'm actually like, as soon as I hear a turn right here, I'm gonna activate this rat so I get spook speed so I can run this right away. And then we're gonna vacuum here to trigger this cutscene. And what happened is that the boss has turned on the water, and we have to actually go and turn it off to get to the boss. So right here, there's these goop witches are actually like small accumulations that happen in the run. They save time. But
If you don't mess them up, that is.
yeah, coming up is a trick which I'll let you explain.
So this is Ducky out of bounds, and how it works is it's a little complicated. When you hold out the vacuum, you preserve the X bump for getting in the
I
rubber
got stuck.
duck. And if you
Okay,
fall in the water, that's fine, you can redo it. If you fall in the water while you have that little X pump stored with the vacuum, you'll be basically instantly transported to the rubber duck. And if you do that little burst thing that you saw with Luigi to flash him,
I got stuck.
you'll be able to buffer the X button to instantly get out of the rubber duck and have it go through the floor. So holding down both L and R, it buffers the dark light device, and that is how we instantly get out of the rubber duck so that it'll fall down. And what we do this for is we can now move all the way
I got it.
to the end of the section, and it skips the entire auto-scroller of the rubber duck section that everyone mostly despises.
Now we're going through this. We actually have to turn these valves in a specific way to actually get to this other valve to get to the... And I actually need to purposely actually leave this guy alone so I can stall. Because when I do this, I have it turned on to the right there. I can have this go on as he's moving through the pipe. And we
This
go
celebration animation weirdly can't really be skipped, so if you do it while Luigi's in the pipe, he'll still be making...
Yeah, right here I'm gonna burst and despawn Luigi. That actually is a gold ghost for spook speed. And I'm actually purposely gonna leave Luigi there in hopes that he'll actually let me run over here. Gold ghost was in reach, but if I burst these two guys though, I will still maintain spook speed, so they're gonna be following me until I reach this door over here. So yeah, we essentially drained the water now, and we can actually go to the boss.
This is the entire section that we skipped having to float on the rubber duck past.
Yeah. And actually, those goobs, we actually avoid those now in the run. Because those are, like, notorious for, like, being annoying when you're going through that normal. Or just casual.
So those goobs gave us spook speed through both doors, and now we are going to push off that little edge, and if we fall in the water, since we're kind of like out of bounds, it'll warp us to that door.
Yeah. Turn his bow. Coming up is Clem. Key points is that we're forcing him to be pushed back right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flash, vacuum bit, flash, until he hits the spikes, and right there. From here, I'm gonna actually activate these bombs so they're not in the way of setting this up. I'm gonna flash burst at him, spawn Luigi, grab him. You gotta wait until like around 285 or below, slam. After the slams, flash immediately when he's out of the vacuum, and you're able to re-tether him again.
One cycle used to be a very difficult.
And swap her down so I can get near the lover here, because you do actually have to turn this off to get the button.
This new version is way more consistent than the old Clem one cycle.
Climb down, get the button, and we're actually go back in order because the previous floor was 9, and the next one coming out is actually 10.
So the 10th floor is going to be the longest floor in the game by far.
So right here, you can actually drop down there instead of like going down the ladder right here. It's pretty nifty.
A lot of ladders, climbing on them is very slow, so where we can, we try to skip them and climb down.
Oh, yeah. Ha ha. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beat 2.
Oh.
Yeah, this next floor is definitely long,
Oh,
and
yeah.
this floor is very strict, believe it or not. Because we actually have to go through a couple of puzzles in order to get to the boss. Because we do actually meet...
Start.
I could try, but...
Why not?
Yeah.
Oh.
So right at the start, we're going to be startled by these little torches on either side. And you can skip them. It's a little hard compared to the other two because the timing is so weird. But it looks like we got it.
Yeah. Vacuum the sand so we can actually enter the door. And we don't have to go anywhere in this, we just go straight to here and actually turn this left statue down. Because it has this wand up. In order to actually open this door.
So this pyramid right here is where we're going to spend the majority of the floor.
Right here, I'm gonna have Luigi spawn so I can avoid that scare. And I'm gonna trigger that. Ega's gonna call us and
Hello. Goodbye.
and I'm gonna have him do this to actually interact with this. So while
So the
canceling...
snakes in this floor are pretty notorious for getting in the way. And what we did there was we left Luigi in a spot so that it baits the attacks from the snake towards him and not Luigi. If a snake hits Luigi, he will move at less than half speed for about a few seconds, and it's horrible.
But yeah, now we're like basically the main area, and we got fallen down to the pit, and we have to get back up. And the only way to get back up is by getting sand filled in this room. But there's a thing in the middle that's closed off, and we have to close it off by doing these puzzles. puzzle rooms.
There are 3 puzzle rooms in total,
Did not.
and yeah. So here we see mummy ghosts. Mummy ghosts. Basically, what you want to do is you want to burst them to get them stunned, and then unwrap them. So what we also did here was we spawned a gem ghost. That guy will give us Luke speed throughout
Just
that
like
main
that.
room. And also, he prevents us from celebrating after we beat a ghost fight in that room.
So yeah, first room is gonna be the laser room, and there's a certain order that we do this, so we can actually reach a ghost that's gonna spawn here when we actually clear the second laser statue here.
You don't actually have to be on the
Yeah,
platforms
nice.
to burst
He
the
spawned right
statue.
next to me. Pretty good spawn.
Very, very good spawn. We were basically doing it in a specific order to like where that guy
And
appear.
as this is going on, you want to ideally flash these
Leave
guys.
Guichi right there so that we can bait more snakes to attack him and not
Yeah,
Luigi.
because getting hit by the snakes is really not going to end up making us slow. Try to avoid that as much as possible. Right here, I'm actually purposely plant Luigi around here for a specific reason. When I walk right here and then swap, I activate a trap, ball trap. That's going to be used later on as well for keyboard our RNG thing that's going to happen. So now we're on to the puzzle room. And there's set order that we do this. They're all the same spots as usual. So the way it's done is actually the optimal path. So we first do this, and then we go and interact with the base.
These
And,
gems are
oh
always in the
wow,
same
that
spot every
okay.
time.
Well, we're gonna have to get that later
And
because
they're
that
misbehaving.
yeah, we're
so
gonna have
the
to get that
physics
guy
of
later.
This scene seemed to be very jank, and what happened was
We'll put him over
we got
here, and then we'll just do this. Usually it does not go like that, but
Yep. Good improv though.
so that's the second puzzle. Now it's gonna clear. It's gonna fill this part, and we have one more puzzle to do. Wrapping this one in order for the sand to fill the room.
But first, we have to do a ghost fight, and this fight is actually the reason that we triggered that little boulder trap,
Alright, nice.
which
I
I
did a
will
little-
let you explain about.
I did a little manipulation where the camera is facing the opposite direction, and you actually move forward right there to actually move down there. But right here, we burst these two guys, and we actually pulled this guy first, and then pulled this guy, like waited and pulled this guy, because they can get cluttered together like this. And this guy gets it, which he did. Let's hope that guy that actually gets hit as well.
So there are 2 more mummies on the other side of the room, and ideally that boulder will unwrap
Yeah,
those.
unfortunately, we didn't get it, so we have to actually manually do this. But there's instances where I'll actually hit him, and it saves a lot of time over just having to do it manually. But
So here we're gonna push the perfect amount of sand onto this little weight, so that we actually don't have to do any really complicated weight manipulation. If you have the right amount of sand on here, it'll be perfectly lined up for each and every one of these little weights.
yeah, I basically took the big piece out to have enough sand, and then from here I just take out the sand, just have a little bit left over. Just have
I think
Luigi
it
on
would have
here.
been fine if you had left this sand.
Yeah, I just want to be sure that I don't actually like pass it. But here I'm actually interacting with swap position. because right after this cutscene, I'm able to trigger this fight right off the bat. So now that we clear that puzzle room, we essentially are getting sand filled in this room now. But before we get to that room, we actually have to clear this one. It's gonna trigger. Here.
So we want to slam this hammer into all of the mini hammers, so that we don't have to really flash them at all afterwards.
Okay, well, there we go. What I'm gonna do here is actually burst at the middle of this, because this actually triggers the fight right away when you do that.
It's based on height, and that burst gets us just enough.
Yeah, they grab him.
Yeah, so the reason he had to delay the flashing a bit is that we really do not want to kill that gem ghost.
I'm gonna have Luigi out here be a bait. Luckily I got these two together, so that's good.
Nice double.
I do gotta be careful with the gem goo here though. I'm doing this.
Yeah, so there's still one more door we want to get speed through, and that gem ghost is...
Did not slam in time, that's alright. We got enough time to do this though.
Yeah, this is basically an auto-scroller, so this goes to fight.
Even if we finish like the quickest here, we'll have time. So now that we finish, we actually gonna pull this guy closer to here. The reason why is that when he's closer to this door over here, we can actually get spook speed through that door. So
if
we
he's
kind
on
of
the other side of the room, you actually won't get his spook speed.
Yeah, so we want to be this close in order to actually like.
And I know this is something a lot of players don't know. You can actually shoot plungers at ghosts to stun them with it, and this is used a couple of times in the run.
Spook speed through the door. We're activating a trap here, but we can easily dodge by just running through this. And we're gonna plunger this space because this space actually has the torch that we can light on.
Fortunately, the base that contains it is not random.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a fling, just like I did, and I did. Nice.
Doesn't save that much time, but it's definitely stylish.
So yeah, now we're gonna be actually meeting the boss that sent us down to the pit earlier.
Her name is Serpsy. So Serpsy is an interesting boss in that for most of the ghosts, whenever you drag them, the angle that you drag them at is fairly consistent. You just want to drag
One of the things I'll be doing is I'll have Luigi out helping vacuuming, but when I see them run a prepared attack, I purposely put him inside there, so she actually progressed forward. But luckily she jumped this way, so we're going this way, and same thing as before, we're doing the same thing. But now that she goes here, we're actually gonna be dodging his attack. There you go. Now we're gonna be doing.
If you burst, it doesn't matter where the attack is. So Serpsy is unique, and when you drag her, she actually moves in an S shape, and you have to specifically follow that shape in order to be able to change. So that right there is the Serpsy 1 cycle, and what you actually want to do is have Luigi vacuuming, and if you slam into him while he's vacuuming, she'll just kind of stay there, and when you flash her, she'll instantly go to Luigi's vacuum. Pretty lucky spot to end the fight.
Yeah. Nice.
Instant grab.
I rarely get
So
that in real runs.
Really hard to manipulate where she ends up in the fight, so you're pretty much just at the mercy of where she decides to drag you.
Typically, a good spot to end off is being near the button and be right on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So this is probably the most technical of the floors, and there's a lot to explain very quickly. So.
Oh yeah, a lot will be happening in this next floor, the 11th floor. The Twisted Suites, aka my floor. If you want to say that. I did actually discover the strat for this floor on my own.
Yep.
When I first started running this game.
It is the hammer fight, correct?
Yeah. Twisted Hammer. But there's more than strats like that in this floor now.
There are a lot of small optimizations to get through this floor, so if you hear us talking fast, That is why.
Yeah. So instead of one boss, it's actually triplets that we're facing in this war.
They are
Out of
actually
them.
named Nikki, Lindsay, and Ginny, and it's actually a play on words, because if you abbreviate their names, it's NLG, which is the same abbreviation for Next Level Games, the people who developed this game.
Here. React. That was a little bit bad. I don't normally get that, but it's alright.
The piggy
So-
bank is not ideal in that situation.
Yeah, it was just in the way. So right here, I'm gonna avoid this trash can by like hugging this, kind of going in the corner. I should have showed it off, honestly, but
Yeah.
it's
If
alright.
you do not trigger that trash can, whenever you enter this room, you can sometimes get hyper speed where you can zip around the map. It's completely useless and it's not really featured in the run, but it's a fun thing to show off. So what we're going to do is a small optimization with this thing. Since Luigi is in the celebration animation, we're going to have Luigi open the chest, and that allows you to grab the key faster than you would.
Let's hope this goes well, because this part is important. But I'm gonna burst this off. This will be important for later on. Open that trapdoor. But anyways, I'm gonna spawn Luigi right here, and then we're gonna do plunger on this vending machine. And when we do that, we're gonna swap and turn this now. As it turns, we're gonna go to this and we activate that. And you'll see why in a couple of minutes we have to do that. So I previously...
There's a lot of setting up later.
Yeah, so right here I'm actually doing a manipulation where I actually get the orbs right away from underneath there. And then from here, I didn't skip that, but that's alright. There's an animation skip right here that we can do. But this rabbit has a key inside it, and we have to dart light it in order to get the key. And right, just like that, I pulled the curtain right there.
And importantly, we swapped to Luigi to actually get started.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing a little optimization with the curtains. Hopefully I get it here. Good. And then this hat you just immediately burst. And if you actually go through it, it warps you forward like that. Helps get to the door quicker.
It's a little inconsistent, but...
So, okay, let's hope I get this, but...
This is not really a trick that's featured in the run because it's very inconsistent. So you can, there's a ghost fight that happens in this room, and you can actually skip it by pushing up onto this little table. But since you were so
I
close to the
triggered
trigger,
it, that's alright. Fortunately,
it's
you know...
very easy to mess up.
Yeah, the hard part is the trigger's very close by where we're pushing at. That was an interesting... Actually, I'm gonna do this. There we go. Okay, that was actually... That was unintentional. That was unintentional, by the way.
So if Luigi doesn't pass through those little sword thingies, he will get scared from them the first time he does. And what we luckily got in that situation is that we
Trigger this
managed to save it.
haunted trash can there, and hopefully get a double, and yes I did.
Nice. The number of oozers you can get here is a little hard to get perfectly right. Sometimes you can get only one, and I think the most you can get at 163.
Okay. I was hoping I'd get this guy, but that's right. So here's my strat that I discovered like 4 years ago or so. So I'm gonna grab him from behind and spawn Luigi, and just like that, a double tether.
For some reason, you don't need to flash this hammer. It spawns in already being,
Alright, so moment of truth. I'm gonna be doing a magic trick. So, try to get on here.
This is likely one of the more inconsistent goo pushes. I can only really think of one that's left.
Let's try this one.
Well,
Really
Try exhaust.
inconsistent, but okay.
There you go.
Let's see.
Okay.
Nice, I got it. So what happened there is that if I interact with the hole slow enough, the gates will actually open, which lets me leave. And what I did right there is activate Gold Goose is for spook speed. For the end floor, but also like maybe later on, like preserve them.
So here we're trying to beat the ghosts while not getting owned by the trash can.
Like that. Go through, and now we're into the boss fight. So,
This is another scripted boss fight that's pretty much just an auto-scroller.
so
Ooh, nice RNG.
easy to understand this is that it's basically like a game of cups, you know. There's gonna be something missing each like the next like 2 phases. So for this first one, all of them be in here. For the next one, there could be like a fake out that you want to avoid.
Also, what we do here is that we swap to Guichi to instantly flash one of the bosses as quickly as possible. It's probably a Kukri trick. A lot of small optimizations were found by Guichi.
I want to pay attention to this bomb and make sure I don't pick it, because we don't want to pay attention too much. Otherwise, we might actually purposely fool ourselves on getting it.
So the bomb here, we don't want to get that. We want to get the ghosts.
So I'm gonna be facing this one right here, since it's like basically a darker flame. And you can actually utilize this like a good visual because they're different each time. The flames, so they're not consistent to which one's real. So you have to really pay attention regardless.
Yep.
But I guess it's more easier to do it that way since you know, 2 that are real. One of them has a darker flame, but now we have to pay attention to the real one here because now there's 2 bombs. So.
The number of spins they do right here is random, but it doesn't take too much.
Now it's gonna be the left one, and it's gonna be first, so I have to... So what I'm doing here, I'm actually turning myself like this, so I actually face the real one, so it's easier to keep track of which one's not the fake.
And again, we want to land exactly where the button is going to be, so we want to end the fight pretty much exactly in the middle of the arena.
Okay.
So like I activated this gold boots earlier, they're gonna be very useful in basically going through these 2 doors right here, as well as this trash can that's active.
Yeah, a lot of the floor we pretty much just spook speed through at the very end, and it's very satisfying to do.
Yep. Now we're unlocking the next floor, which is going to be the 12th floor.
Or
However,
would be
there's going to be a little bit of
an
block,
issue.
a roadblock in our way that we're going to have to get a item, which is technically useless, but still.
So this item, we only use it once in this entire run, and it's kind of funny how underutilized it is, like a lot of the features in this game.
Even though it does help us upgrade our vacuum slams. Because you
And
know
that's
how
actually
early I mentioned is that the max slams when you're doing fast slams is 5. So when we unlock this and we give it the EGAD, we're actually able to slam 7 times instead of 5.
So right here, as you can see in just a bit, there is a pirate ship blocking the door that we need to go through.
Oh.
So EGAD is going to basically explain, hey,
Hello?
there's this thing that'll allow you to destroy it,
And one neat
but
thing is that
I left
if
it
you go to the
in
menu and
basement.
go to the lab, you can go to the lab from the menu right here instead of just manually going to the basement. Just quicker. And if you remember the toe that we mentioned earlier at the start of this run, he's the culprit behind why we have to do this rescue mission, because he's holding the item. Well, he was holding the item, but he dropped it and he got lost. And now we gotta
So
find him.
now we
and
have to
get
go
the-
back to B2 and rescue him. And, you know, get the item. So you can explain now, I think, why the toad is named Greg. I'm sure a lot of people are curious as to why.
We'll get to there. When we see him, we'll and what's the reason? We'll get to there.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like last time,
Yeah,
we'll be
so
waiting till I
this
see.
toad gets in the way of a lot of things that we are trying to do, but we also have to use him in a couple spots,
Try to go
and
for this.
sometimes he can be useful.
Nice, I did that.
Ooh.
So what happened there is I was actually delaying the scare from those goose and actually was moving further up from that. Nice, that was a good orbs. Alright,
Spirit
so
orbs are always a little red.
I'm gonna do a very fast combat orb right here.
This is
Hopefully I
one of
get
the
it.
hardest combat manipulations that you can do.
I wouldn't say the hardest, but it definitely is up there.
Nice.
Nice. Swap? Nice.
So we got the quad, and we're able to destroy the thing that blocks the door as quickly as possible.
So right here is where the toad is, because he's actually hiding in a box. Hopefully I get first. Yes, I can. So
Yeah,
he's
so the
hiding in a
burst,
box.
it doesn't really matter if it's through the wall, so that you can just do that.
So we got Toad. Okay, activated that. Move him over here. You'll see a little bit of multitasking here. I'll be doing. I did not mean to do that. So that's
Yeah,
no
that
good.
is.
And
Oh, and
yeah.
Toad's deciding to be annoying.
Alright, what I meant to do was I was meant to move out of the way so I can grab for that. But you can actually shoot Toad over there from this far away, but you have to like pull down the ladder first in order to do that.
Otherwise, the
properly.
auto-aiming will pretty much always target him towards the ladder.
So, yeah. Coming up is one of the most notorious streets.
This is probably the least consistent goop push. So we get on here and we actually use Toad to our advantage for this. We walk on top of his head after opening up the little drawer, and that gives us just enough distance to just walk over it.
Nice.
And this goop push is terrible, but first try, that's pretty great.
Alright,
go for the
so
stun
like
skip.
last time, the meaty goofs don't really matter, so we just avoid them. And we do have to hold the plunger here, otherwise we celebrate.
Those two startles that play can be skipped, but it's a little jank.
Okay, here, I'm gonna wait for him to stop and I can push him off. And he can just continue moving with me. Just like that. And here's the reason why Code is called Greg. It's mainly this portion. But sometimes Toad can be uncooperative in this section, or just even further beyond here. Like the next one over here.
And
'Cause
so the
sometimes
community
he'll
came
just-
up with a name for him
Yeah.
to direct their frustration toward.
Shoutouts to Grub Aether.
a lot of runners have contributed to this game to make it as fast as possible.
So yeah, what I did there is that we need to turn this thing on so we can spin this bridge over here, walk across.
The direction it spins is also correlated to if you use the vacuum or the exhaust, so making sure to use the exhaust there to go a bit faster.
So yeah, and the main reason why we actually didn't go through the door instead of just going all the way around is because the hammer was blocking there, so we had to go all the way around.
Fun fact, if you flash that hammer from below and defeat it, you can actually go through the floor normally, but it's very slow.
So yeah, right here I'm going to set up a manipulation, because there's going to be 2 slinkers that's going to be spawning here, and one of them will start this, and I didn't get it, which is fine.
That is weird. Slam, fortunately we got the slinker there.
Good opportunity to use plunger. Anyways, so now we have to actually go to B1, actually send the toad off, because we also have the part upgrade here in our hands now.
So this time around Toad has been pretty well completed, all things considered.
This is it? Yep. Alright, so I'm actually going to spawn Luigi like this to react, and yes, he did appear. Wait, grab him, do a double tether, move over here, flash all of them, plunger, and that's basically the whole way.
And what actually happens is we go through that hallway very
Oh, nice, I got it.
and that actually messes up this cutscene right here. So normally this cutscene plays where Luigi hands him the thing and he's talking to him, but since we did it so incredibly quickly, Luigi's pretty much at the door and it thinks we're playing the cutscene, which results in this funny charade of an invisible Luigi handing him items.
Now we can actually go back to the 12th floor and actually play through the floor entirely with this part upgrade. And like Porky mentioned, this is the only time that we use this in the run.
Yeah, so this upgrade lets us slam 7 times instead of 5, but the main thing it's supposed to do is give us the ability for super suction. However, we only use super suction once in this run.
Right here, the lighting socket. We have much powerful vacuum, so we can get through this ship. We can't actually goo push it in, because you actually have to break parts of it to actually...
The X prompt for the door does not exist until you vacuum.
Yeah.
So coming up is another scripted boss fight, and
Yeah,
at
pretty
first
much.
you might think that that means there's no one cycle. However, this is the only scripted boss fight in the game where that does not apply.
Yeah, you'll see if we get it here.
So there's a lot to explain for this, so I'll try to explain it a little bit early.
Yeah, a lot of stuff will be going
so-
on, so...
So how this boss fight works is, as soon as he gets to 200 HP during his first cycle, he will immediately retreat back into the ship. And there's really not supposed to be a way around this. However, if you tether him, the frame his HP ticks over to 200. The AI completely breaks, and you're able to completely skip phases 2 and 3.
Alright. Important thing about this, I'm clearing this area out so I don't actually have any interruptions. It's important for this one cycle that I'll be doing. So, what are the
So
first
we're
things
going
that
to
we
be doing a setup.
Yeah. So, we gotta first get him to 261. There we go. And let go
Sending
at
him
201.
3 times means you got 201. Oh, you got a
Sure.
fish.
I'm gonna stand like right here.
So this is the setup. It pushes him the exact distance so that if we hold up on the vacuum, he will be
Nice.
dragged just far
So
enough
just like
so
that,
we'll
you
tether
break.
him.
So what I did there is I broke him off, and he's basically broken, and I can actually tether him. And I'm actually gonna leave him like this right here. But what happens if you actually slam him all the way without actually properly going through that is you'll be on the ground, but you can still vacuum like this.
His HP off. So that fish right there is actually something that used to matter in the run. Before Fish Hook 1 cycle was found, during phase 2, if a fish spawned, you can actually use it as a bomb. The game, for some reason, doesn't differentiate between the bomb and the fish because they're both objects that can be thrown. And it used to be a pretty neat RNG time save, but now it's not really useful anymore since we found the 1 cycle.
Also, if you may notice a little earlier on the HP, I actually slammed him around 140 because we actually unlocked 2 extra slams, which lets us do 140 damage in total. So it's gonna be very helpful for the next couple like boss fights. And just
So
combat.
this is the last toad of the run that we are going to save, and we're also going to do a goo push to skip climbing down that ladder. This toad doesn't have a name, unlike Greg, but since I personally have a frustration with him, I call him Pablo, but I know many other runners call him different things.
I know Hobo, when he was running this game, he'd call him Egg.
Yeah. This guy doesn't have a set name. Different names are given to him. I call him Pablo because of I run ladderless, and in that category, this guy is a nuisance.
Yeah. So with this toad, we can definitely now actually interact with the elevator on the side instead of just the button.
For some reason, that doesn't work on 9F. It baffles me.
So now we're on to the 13th floor.
13th floor is definitely a weird floor.
Oh yeah.
So this floor is very notorious for one of its rooms being pretty much a time waster.
And
there are a couple of neat strategies that are used in this
and there's a
floor
bit
as
of a RNG with it.
Yep, hence why it's a time waster.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna go for this startle and see if I can get it.
So this telephone will startle Luigi, and we'll try to skip that. Didn't get it. That's okay. For some reason, you don't get spook speed through this door. No idea why. Got that startle skip at least.
So what I did there is actually a setup for the ghost fight. Because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna hit these 2 groups right away. Nice. A little weird.
Bit of improv here. That is
little
such
improv,
weird.
It's alright. Still works out.
Interaction.
So right here, if you actually hold A immediately as you enter the room, he'll actually force out the wizard blocker over here.
So you can actually skip this fight by doing a startle skip, but if you do that, the fight will stay.
And then right here, if you immediately hold X and just move to the other side right here, you can skip that room right there.
So there's a key in this room, and it's hidden in one of these 6 machines. Which one it's hidden in is completely random, and this is a pretty notorious room because of that.
Okay. Fourth try.
Not bad. Could have been worse.
Nice, got that.
So here we do a little bit of an optimization for bursting the carpets. If you burst it at the top right corner of the first carpet, it actually gets both of them once. Going for 2 little spook speed.
And right here, if you interact with the chest again, you can avoid the animation.
That's the only chest in the game that works on, by the way. So for this fight, we're going to be trying to slam, and we got it. We're trying to slam that slinger onto the 3 minigame towers to avoid having to crash them.
Right.
This room is a little chaotic.
Yeah. I did not turn that. That's good.
Yeah. So we want to have both of them vacuuming valves at the same time, and if you swap to Luigi when Luigi pulls down that curtain, it avoids a little startle level. So this is pretty much one of the only instances of the chargeable flash actually being that useful. It allows us to get both of these slingers at the same time. Got a little unlucky there, but that's fine.
Smart guy.
Nice recovery. So this is Johnny Deep End. He
go for it.
is a bit interesting, as you can see. He only has 16.
Oh, well, that's. I tried turning her. I guess my corner. Whoa. Okay. I was like, I thought it saw something.
I don't know how he shot that back. So there's a fast strat you can do where you can actually
Guess we're doing
skip
this.
an attack cycle.
Yeah, I tried to go a
and as
little
you can
risky
see, it's
here, but
very
it
hard
didn't really.
to do.
It didn't work out.
So normally you're supposed to hide behind this pillar. What we can do is grab a ball, and as soon as he wakes up and starts to shoot Luigi, we can throw it at him.
So yeah, we throw a volleyball at him, and then we just vacuum his glasses off, so he's actually vulnerable to a flash. So you would think the boss would be hard, like on the second phase, but nah.
It's weird that they only gave him 60 HP.
I'm actually gonna go
This
for.
combined with all
I'm
the
actually gonna go for a
yeah.
thing I saw you posted. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's a very weird interaction that I found.
Yeah. So let's see if I can.
So this is going to be the second trapper of the run, and you have to have Luigi. You have to have Luigi, yeah.
This
So
is fine.
one of the brothers, if they get stuck on the trapper, what'll happen is that you don't need to hold the pleasure there, by the way.
You don't?
Yeah, if you go through it quick enough, you can just go through the door after beating it.
Yeah.
So what happens is if you have one of the Luigis being attacked by the trapper, his hitbox will be pretty much active, and if you slam a trash can on it, he instantly disappears. Not really sure. I don't think it saves time, but it is fun.
No, you're nice, kitty.
So
Nice
here we
one.
have Polterkitty again, here to
Yep.
steal yet another elevator button.
This is part 2.
So instead of going back to 1 floor, we're actually going to be going back 2 floors when we chase her. And this is actually why we can't skip the Oozer fight. So if we were to have skipped that fight, the ghost gate that would be here would actually block us from taking this route.
It's gonna be a big gauntlet here that'll be doing like stuff intentionally to complete it real quick. And unfortunately that didn't activate it, so I can hit it twice right there. That can sometimes happen where it just doesn't really trigger it.
It misses.
So here I'm flashing these two, and by doing this I can core these guys together like this.
This is yet another small optimization that was found this year. A lot of exciting skips were found this year, and there's one more to be had.
Nice. Alright.
Ooh, nice little quad.
I had to like turn around right there, but yeah. She's gonna be running this way. And actually what I'm doing here is I'm gonna activate this ring, because this actually has a gem cube, but we're not actually activating it.
When we activate this bell at a certain part, it'll give us spook speed, and if you remember from the first time, spook speed can help us get rid of the annoying and disappointing animations after we beat a full speed.
Right here, I have to put Luigi near the door for this to work. But when she's about to get down here, I'm gonna move Luigi near him, and by doing this, this will activate the loop. Which lets me get out of that.
For some reason, that's the only time where you can actually get spook speed through that door. If you try to get spook speed through that door earlier, it for some reason just doesn't really work. So if you beat that trapper, for example, quickly enough and go through the door, the spook speed does not allow you to go through it quicker. So now Polterkitty is in the 12th floor, and we have to obviously go after her. And there are going to be several startles in this section that we are going to be trying to skip. The first one is going to be right here at the start of this bridge, which we think.
Well, it doesn't really make any difference when doing that.
I guess it doesn't really matter because you're still having to wait for Polterkitty.
Yeah, pretty much. So right here, you vacuum it, you can use your flasher. Hopefully she jumps to the right. No, she jumps to the left this time. She can either jump to the left or the right. Right would be ideal, if you're close to the door.
And one thing that we haven't really mentioned yet, we're actually slamming her closer to the door. Because where you slam her dictates how long it'll take for her to go through it. So if we slam her directly towards the door, she will have to leave the room through that door. And so slamming her in that direction means she's already there and should be able to get through it quickly. Another optimization we do is move Luigi closer to this little...
Yeah. So what happened there is I purposely put Luigi there, and I purposely stopped Luigi near where Polterpup's going down to. And what happens is that when Luigi gets sad right there, I can swap to Luigi and activate the haunted trash can to gain spook speed for Luigi to immediately start running.
And the only few uses the Dark Light has besides weight room. So now we've chased Polterkitty all the way down to the 11th floor, but first we have to take out a few goobs that have infiltrated the elevator. Once again, this only happens once, and it's another weird instance of things being
Pretty
pointless.
easy to deal with. The money isn't really necessary there, I just collect it for fun. It's not really required,
Yeah.
but if you are like running like for instance 100%, you definitely want to collect that money.
100% is a completely different beast.
So yeah, so right here, PK can actually be hiding in one of these hats, but luckily it's not random, it's actually always the same spot.
Oh, it would be awful if it was random which hatch is hiding it.
We have these gold cubes active, so we can actually instantly just run to this often. That's where PK is hiding. Despawn Luigi, lose him over here. I need to get him on the stage as soon as possible for this to work. Okay. Yeah, I think I got it.
So, just like all the other bosses, you can instantly grab the button if you're standing in the right spot,
Nice.
but this one is very easy to mess up. Fortunately, we got it.
Okay, go. Aw, almost added, but I got spook speed
So
anyways.
you can keep the spook speed from the gold ghosts, but it's a little hard to get it in time.
But yeah. Anyways, we're actually officially done with PK now, and there's no more backtracking, because we're actually near the end of the game now. Believe it or not.
Only 2 real floors to go.
Yeah.
Next up is the 14th floor, and it's pretty short. It's another one of those floors where there's pretty much just a boss fight and that's it. But there are a few cool skips that we do on this floor.
What I did there is I preemptively spawned him before triggering. I'm gonna slam towards this direction, let go, flash, and I can grab these two together. The reason why we don't want to kill the Slinker really quickly there is that there's a potential crash that can happen if there's like too many particles. And also right there, I actually activated a haunted trash can right there for spook speed, which is actually nice when we come back after this fight.
For some reason, that is a unique animation that plays only there, only once in the entire game, and can't be skipped.
So here, I
We
spawn
also
Luigi.
spawn Luigi there, because you can't control Luigi right away, and it's faster to use Luigi as a result. Ah, the dad. Yeah, the Goop's dad here, and it pretty much just shows the date that this
So
game
right
is
here, we bursted. I spawned Luigi so we can move near this guy, and we're gonna pay attention to where he is and keep bursting so we can actually keep track of him. And he's gonna be
all
right
of the other
here.
Goops are pushed back from the burst, except for the one that has the button, so that's pretty useful to make sure you
Yeah,
know.
and
which
I
one.
swapped after slamming him because this is important because you're able to move after this cutscene right here. And if you move
If you're
over
using
here,
Luigi,
so
you won't
burst, flash, burst. If you burst, flash, burst, and then tether her, after slamming her, you're able to flash her again. So we're gonna slam. Fortunately, we get a little down right there, but it's alright. And after this, she'll be flashable again. And all we have to do is hit under 140 or exactly 140 to finish her off. Just like that.
And then we're gonna try to move Guichi closer to where the elevator button is.
Yeah, while holding the plunger out so we don't actually have the celebration animation happen. So yeah, that's the bot, DJ Phantasmagoria.
It's important to be controlling Guichi when you grab that button because it allows you to move a bit quicker.
So yeah, right here, like I activated earlier, I'm gonna spawn Guichi so I can kind of maintain this a little bit. And there's one thing we can do here. If you walk on this dance pad, you trigger a bunch of ghosts, a bunch of goobs. But if we go to this bench over here and you push on top of it, we can essentially skip over that ghost fight entirely.
Now, it would seem like it's faster to go to the right bench instead of this left one over here, but the right bench is a little less consistent, and while their attempts have been made to make it more consistent, it's still not really going for worth it at this point in time. So now we are going to the 15th
floor, the final button.
Floor of the game.
Yeah. One important thing is we don't want Guichi out in this entering here, because just there's one part of this start of this that we want him to spawn.
You never really want Guichi out in these elevator sections.
Yeah. Right here, I can spawn and move them over here. And what we have to do is actually turn up this projector, pull it up, essentially. So we're gonna put Luigi there so it goes through it. As he's doing that, we're gonna multitask and move Luigi closer to the double door that's behind this projector.
So this floor used to be played pretty standard, all things considered, but recently I have found probably this is going to be the biggest skip that I have found. And it is the second floor to have a story checkpoint be skipped. Or a story trick, I guess is what you would call it.
So right here, we're actually going to the left room for this key first. Because there's a certain order that we're going to go for, and it's actually important that we go in this certain order of rooms, because there's going to be one trick that we can do to skip an entire ghost fight completely.
So normally a ghost fight happens after you complete the first room that you do, and after the third room that you do. And this is important because the ghost fight that occurs, is tied to which room you do. So if you do this room first, you will get 2 oozers and a hammer.
Yep, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to do an optimization here that you can do, is that if I plunger, I'm going to make sure I get this guy. So kind of like, there we go.
Not cooperating, there it is. Okay.
That's alright, so hammer is gonna come by. I have to get this.
So normally what happens is you slam the oozers into the hammer, which gets a little bit of HP off, but since we got a little unlucky there, that is not what happened.
That's alright, but at least we got the
So
oozers.
this is going to be the second room that we do, and this is important because the second room doesn't spawn any ghosts.
And one thing I'll be doing here is actually dark lighting through the wall like that, because you can actually dark light that invisible door early.
A lot of multitasking goes on in this room, swapping between Luigi and Guichi. And we want to despawn Guichi as quickly as possible so that we can move this as soon as we can. And then there's also a little Dark Moon Easter egg right there for Gloomy Manor.
Okay, so now we got the second key, and after this key we're not going to get any ghost fight, since it only happens the first and the third one. But this next
So-
room here is not going to be normal the way we do it, because we're actually doing something a little different. And I could let you
So
explain that.
this skip was found earlier on this year by myself. So what happens is, whenever you, in order to beat a room, the game thinks,
So,
okay.
what we're
the way
doing
you beat a
essentially
room-
here is doing door storage. We'll hold R and L and then swap. We essentially gain invincibility from the lasers here. And when we do that, instead of pulling this thing off, we're gonna actually push through these lasers.
So
corner.
deactivating the lasers is what the game sees as playing for, and by skipping that, the game thinks, okay, well, we haven't actually beaten this room, but it still lets us collect the key.
So,
and this is the only
by
thing in the game that we
avoiding
can do that.
disabling the lasers in a room, this essentially delays the next ghost fight that will happen, which will be in this room.
So
after
it
this.
still thinks we've only done 2 rooms, because we didn't actually technically beat that room.
So, same thing I did, I'm gonna do door storage so I can do this, because it's actually important that I usually do this. Because I can go up here, this is a balance beam. And one side is a key and the one side's the switch. So we have to move Luigi over there. But
Using the vacuum on this little weight thing prevents us from falling off it as easily.
doing this, if I do this correctly, I swap and I get the key as I turn this off. So I'm able to get the key early by having door storage active. And from here, you'll notice that the gates will actually appear like this. So instead of
This
doing
is
the
what
fight,
game counts.
we actually group push out like that. And we want to go around here because you may notice it's a bit blurred. There's actually a trapper right there that we want to avoid. And now we can just go straight to the vault
this
door.
door is always active, and despite the fact that there's a ghost fight going on, we can just go to this floor and completely ignore it. This skips not only the ghost fight from the 3rd room that we beat, but it also skips the final ghost fight that we used to actually have to skip on our own.
Yeah, normally we would actually be doing the Slinker fight, ghost fight, and then after the room we have like a big gauntlet that happened, but we instead just skip it right away. And there's a bit like a little bit of in cutscene that happens.
The ghost fight that happens during the final gauntlet, that gate you push was actually the first one that was ever found. That is where Luigi pushing gets its origins. And it's no longer used in the run.
And I got it. So what I did there
Okay,
is like
good.
before I enter the boss trigger, when I enter the room when the camera moved in, I can put Luigi out of bounds essentially, and we can essentially do a 0 laser Helen fight.
So how this fight works is there are lasers underneath the floor, or there are triggers underneath the floor to deactivate these little laser things here. And that gives us more space to work with during the Helen fight. However, you don't actually need that space. If you are out of bounds, you cannot be pushed directly into the lasers, which would normally be Helen.
And one important
So we
thing
skip
I'll be
that and
doing,
deactivate and
yeah, one important thing about this boss I'll be doing is that I'm purposely gonna start slamming when it reaches below 40 HP. Or health.
Another thing you're gonna see us doing is running into the little colorful lasers with Luigi. This is because while the red laser that you see right here, it cannot hit Luigi, but the colorful lasers can hit him. So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. We're also standing in a specific spot to make sure that Helen spawns near the bottom. Yeah, so if you notice, Luigi is taking hits to make sure that Luigi doesn't break.
Why do this?
Yeah, that's safer.
Why do you do that?
That might be an issue. Maybe the Luigi
We'll
bit.
see.
So we definitely want to be collecting hearts during this fight because it's very important that we end the fight on 99 HP.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's...
Yeah. So now we pretty much just drain until it's 40. Yeah, that's
140, but yeah,
sorry, I misspoke.
that's alright. It may seem that we get low health. We have low health here, but we'll get actually hearts right after this.
Yeah, Helen, every boss, when you beat them, will drop enough HP to get back to full.
Yeah.
And since we wait here anyway, it pretty much doesn't lose any time.
So now we're gonna Dark Light to save Mario, but Mario is gonna tell us to go and come with us because he's actually pointing us to the area. Peach.
Yeah, it's very important to be at 99 HP in this section. Fun fact, I actually learned you can do a little bit of a startle skip here to go a bit further.
Here I'm gonna do
Yeah, so there are
this.
going to be 3 startle skips through this little upwards climb. And let's see if we get all 3.
It didn't work for that
Nope.
one.
You might think that you could go push through past that little walking section that he does, but if you try to do that, the game will crash.
Here comes the fun part. Which, actually, if anyone who has seen the speedrun of this, you may know Mario Skip. There's actually a version that's consistent, if it's done properly.
So we're going to goop push onto this little pillar right here, and then we're going to fall off it in a very specific way so that it upwards us. That will leave the rest of it to twist.
Little...
Getting unlucky here.
There we go. So, we're gonna immediately face right to move right, and then aim up. And we'll look for the shadow for the pointing of the end of the flashlight until it gets the corner of that ledge thing over there, and then we're gonna slowly move right. That's probably not gonna work.
It's also important that we burst beforehand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately we fell not in the ideal spot. You
Yeah,
can actually fall basically near the
We
part
got
of the ladder,
worse
but
Mario
we
skip,
did
but
skip the cart.
we end up skipping Mario flexing on us.
That he can jump and we can't. Except we can kind of jump through Luigi pushing.
But yeah, if you end up getting worse, you just have to climb these like 2 ladders.
So normal Mario skip will actually pretty much spawn you directly at the right here, around
Yeah,
this
like-
ladder,
Yeah, on the left.
on the left side, yes. And so now we're going to be fighting the final boss, King Boo. And this is why it's important for us to have 99 HP, because the King Boo fight pretty much relies solely on damage boosting.
There is technically a skip you can do here, but I'm not really gonna go for it since it's not really...
Tongue skip is not consistent. You can skip
Yeah.
the this entire tongue section, but it's super not really.
If you
consistent
stand in
at
the
all.
bottom corners here, you won't get hit.
Normally, you're supposed to burst or jump over his tongue, but
Yeah, so right here, I'm purposely gonna take damage by bursting.
taking damage as Luigi skips his attack phases and pretty much just moves the fight quickly.
Stand here, get ready. Go to
It's the
bomb.
only fight in the game where damage boosting really matters besides health.
Stand back right here so I can pull this a little quicker.
Ooh,
Because-
almost got the instant.
Yeah. One thing about pulling the tongue is that only one Luigi has to like pull it fully to actually pull for it to count. You don't have to pull both.
You will need to get the A prompt for one of them, and if you
Yeah.
do it far enough, you can actually instant slam the tongue.
here. I'm just gonna do this. Gets to quicker. React to this as well.
Yeah, a lot of this fight pretty much just relies solely on damage boosting to skip attack phases.
And then we're gonna do the fireball here.
Is it faster to skip the lightning or the tongues?
I think it's better to just dodge the tongues here. In this case. If I had more health,
so unfortunately, damage
but...
boosting is not the end-all be-all, because you only have a certain amount of HP. If we get a bonus heart in phase 1, we can actually skip this tongue section right here, along with the lightning.
So right here, I'm placing them purposely right here so I can react. And pay attention to the actually teeth. If they have 4 teeth, that's the real one that you're looking for.
There are multiple ways to tell which King Boo is the real one, but the number of teeth is probably the most obvious and easy to recognize. Nice instant slam.
Yeah. Also, you may notice that the debris can actually give you, if you collect the debris, they can give you parts. That's one thing you want to do, especially for this next one, because you want to have health for this next thing here.
Yeah, you want to get at least 1 bonus heart, which is almost free in phase 2. So phase 3 is pretty difficult. If you don't get the fast strat in phase 3, it can take a long time. So hopefully we get it.
So if you pay attention to King's Boo's crown, if you don't see one that's not light up, that's gonna be the real one. So the middle one's gonna
It's
be
just another way to tell.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just first right here.
I believe there is one more way to tell, and it's based on the eyes. The real King Boo is glowing eyes.
Stand back here and throw. So when the bombs are falling down, you can essentially grab them and throw that King Boo. So
if you fail to grab the bomb, you will have to wait through his attack cycle, and it basically kills a good run on the last stretch.
And this is the final hit, and we got him. And timing is going to be ending soon when we grab the gem.
The gem of his crown.
And the start of the cutscene starts.
So that is going to be Luigi's Mansion 3.
Oh boy, phew. Oh.
And 2:25:59. Not bad, actually. I think that's like the best I've done.
At all.
I think that's the best I've done.
Yeah. Not very, very respectable. So that is pretty much the 80% run in its entirety. There are a lot of dips that we use, and there are a couple that we don't use yet, but maybe we will in the future.
Yeah, this game has... there's a lot has gone on in this game's history. Just talk about like how things were. A lot of stuff was different back then. And the game's
a lot of
just
stuff
getting...
was found in the initial year of the game, and then it kind of slowed down.
Yeah. Things just get faster over time. The run's just getting like more complicated and harder.
And this year in particular has been pretty crazy because we found a lot of strats.
Yeah, like not only that, we got 220, the first 220 this year, and we're probably coming up probably the first 219 very soon, hopefully.
Yep.
I know many of you guys know I've been grinding for 219. I hope I can deliver that very soon.
Yep, I mean, it's looking like it's gonna happen soon.
You know, and if that happens, I'd be happy to start working on the 80% tutorial, because it's been kind of a long time since I'm able to actually give back to the community. There are a lot of I kind of want to do that.
Tricks, and there's a lot to explain.
Yeah, there's a lot to
explain.
Is
obvious on first appearance.
like the reason why we're doing these like these commentary runs is because like I want to help the community grow in a better direction,
A lot of
and I want
tricks
to.
are seemingly
I just want to
pointless
like
or
share my hobby with more people around that may be interested or have no idea how things work. Give the game a try and just see the
or
community just
glitch hunting
talk.
as well. That's
Yeah,
another
glitch hunter.
great
You don't
thing
even
that you
have to
can
be a
do.
runner. You can be a glitch hunter, just like with Porky.
Glitch hunting in this game is a great way to get into it, and it's a very, very broken game, so I highly recommend it. There's always more stuff to find.
Yeah. It's it's crazy that this game is almost 5 years and it still has delivered.
Much room to grow.
Yeah, delivered much room to grow, but also delivered more stuff than we initially thought would never happen. Like the stuff that we
This game
found
is
this
the
year,
gift that keeps on giving.
it keeps on giving. I genuinely believe this is one of the greatest speedruns out there.
And whenever you think that, oh, this is going to be like the last skip, there's nothing else that you could possibly find. More
We
stuff
don't
is found.
we
So
really don't know that until we.
never think, oh, this is as optimized as it can get, because you'll always prove yourself wrong. Want to shout out a couple of runners that have been playing the year. Because many of the runners have been making this game as fast as it is, and a lot of them have been finding
a
tricks.
lot of people have contributed. Just I'd say contribute the most. I'd say Grove, especially. I know he hasn't ran Coopery, but Dory,
Yeah,
like
a lot
not
of
even
these-
not even related to 80%, but just overall, just like
Yeah, there's some 80% stuff. But a lot of people that sadly don't run the game anymore have contributed a lot, and while they don't run anymore, we would love to give them credit.
yeah. But I love that in the near future to kind of just show off this game in like GDQ or in pace at some point.
Because this is a very, very exciting speedrun, and there are a lot of fun tricks to it.
I genuinely think there's a lot more potential for this game.
Yeah.
Just gotta put ourselves out there. Anyways, that'll be the end of the commentary runs for both the Skyscraper set seed and 80% runs. If you want to just, join the community or just join the Discord, just go to speedrun.com/3. Discord link's down there. You just ask us anything about the game. Just be part of it, or just join the stream. I'm always, trying to be active here, trying to grind 80%.
I'm always active in the Discord, willing to help anyone who wants to get a good start in the run. Pretty much just waiting now for the final credits to roll.
Yeah. Who knows what will happen next 5 years to 10 years this game lifespan.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of unused tricks that are too inconsistent to be used in 80%, and maybe sometime in the future we'll find a consistent way to do them that can be used in the run. this is the last of the credits, so after the final cutscene, we will get one last thank you for playing.
Oh, yeah.
So with this last final thank you, I would like to say a big thank you to everyone who's ran this game, and everyone who's contributed, and thank you all for watching. Thank you, Twisted Elf, for having me commentate, and I wish you all a good day.
We should definitely do this more often. Maybe get all the like community members to bring their games. Probably do.
Ooh, like a giant marathon? That would be fun.
We gotta bring back the Elm events.
Yeah.
Discord alive. It's been dead for a while.
Bye, everybody.
Unlike the ghosts, am I right?
Yeah. Anyways, that will be it for today. Hope you guys enjoy the commentary run. I'll see you guys whenever I get on next time. It'll probably be just back to the usual, usual 80%. And if you're new and you want to look forward to that, then definitely drop a follow. But yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Take care.